Donna, thanks for joining us at LongevityRx. I know that you're a big advocate for smarter screening options. Can you tell me your experience with mammograms? Because I think you actually experienced overdiagnosis, is what we educate people on all the time.
Yes, I didn't learn about overdiagnosis until I was pretty far down what I call the rabbit hole. I had started screening with mammograms at age 40. I was a very responsible patient. My grandmother died of breast cancer, and my background, because I'm Ashkenazi Jewish, I just had a little bit of like fear about breast cancer. And so I thought, okay, start at 40 because that's what, the guidelines said and my
I feel
doctor
like
said.
so many women experience that.
Yeah. So I did. I was 44. I went for my fourth annual, and then they called me back. This is a pretty typical thing to get a call back. And then they said, "We see something, and we're going to need to do a biopsy." I said, "Okay." Didn't question anything. It's like going to the dentist and you think he says you need a cavity filled. Okay. So I did the biopsy, and I was like shocked by how barbaric that needle biopsy is. The nurses, they were all very nice, but there was a lot of blood and it's like an injury to your breast. I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty serious. So the results of that, I got over the phone and I was told I had DCIS. Never heard of that before. And I was about to leave to give a presentation. I remember I was like shaking, but I went home and I started looking into what is DCIS. And that was the beginning of 16 years of research.
So once you were diagnosed with DCIS, I know a lot of physicians are now calling that stage 0 breast cancer, and some people are saying that's not cancer at all. It's a typically benign and not something life-threatening. Did your doctors explain that to you?
I was given the diagnosis by a nurse, and she was very matter of fact. She said, "You've been upstaged to DCIS, and you have two treatment options." She started drawing it out on a piece of paper that a mastectomy. I remember hearing mastectomy, like, what? Just didn't make sense. But I'm listening, and she's that's going to reduce your risk at 10 years to 2%. And if you do a partial mastectomy and 7 weeks of radiation, daily radiation, you'll reduce your risk of getting invasive cancer at 10 years to 10%. So I'm hearing these percentages. I'm thinking, I'm completely in shock. I'm like, wait, she said it was pre-cancer, not really cancer, but she's using these terms. It seems so outrageous and absurd to me. Like everything in my intuition just went off like the red flags.
So I know you went into research mode. So what did
Yeah.
you do next? And what was the research saying?
So I went home and I got online looking up DCIS. 2 days later, an article came out that was in Medscape. It said, take carcinoma out of DCIS, ductal carcinoma in situ, and ease off treatment. And that was all about talking about doing active surveillance, slowing down, taking all these women diagnosed, because there was a surge in diagnosis of DCIS following the beginning of mammography. So they have this chart where it's like this, where it goes up. But all these people with advanced cancers, that didn't change at all. And the number of women dying of breast cancer didn't change. It's just they're taking this huge amount of women, 60,000 a year over the last 3 decades. They figured there's like over 1 million women that are in this category of they're being diagnosed, they're being treated as if they have cancer. They're taking out all these little pre-cancers, and then they're not making a difference in the bottom line.
Yeah.
So if you look at that research, you're going, whoa, this is an epidemic. And then you're hearing the director at UCSF saying, we shouldn't be doing this. We should take this out of the screening agenda. That was in 2010.
But not much has changed.
Not much has changed.
So they gave you these options, which I'm assuming you declined.
I declined the options because I did the research, and I also went into a friend of mine was like a holistic health practitioner, nutritionist, and she said, no, this is not cancer. You might have some inflammation or something going on. Let's just do this detox. And I was already very healthy. I was eating vegetarian for many years and exercising every day. I was the picture of health. I did not I looked healthier than now because I was 16 years younger.
You still look very
Thank you.
healthy, glowing.
Thank you. I feel very healthy. I feel like I'm the same age, if not younger. But so she said to me, my friend said, put your MRI, because they do a pre-surgical MRI to make sure there's no actual invasive cancer showing up on MRI. So she said, put the MRI off for a month and it's all going to be clear. And so I did. I went and had that MRI. There was nothing. They couldn't see anything, not even a speck, not even. And when the first diagnosis, she said it was like a pinpoint, like it's really microscopic, 2 millimeters.
Crazy.
And they want to do a mastectomy? Like, it really, it was so extreme. But the scary thing is that I had a surgical biopsy to diagnose this. So it's actually the same as a lumpectomy. I didn't even know that. When you do a needle biopsy and then they go, oh, we see some abnormal cells, and I go, we need a bigger sample. I went along with all this without any research or questioning. So it was only when I was told the treatment for DCIS is a mastectomy and a partial mastectomy and 7 weeks of radiation. I was more scared of the radiation, thinking, wow, that, imagine if you're told that, like just out of the blue, you go in for a normal appointment and you're just told you need these radical treatments. And my grandmother died of breast cancer and she had a radical mastectomy. And my mother told me that she thinks she died of the infection.
I know, and it's so hard to know what to do when your doctors are telling you one thing and you've even said pressured you to do things,
Yeah.
and then your friends and the research is telling you something completely different. So I could only imagine how scary that time period was. But I know for the
Yeah.
screening and the follow-up, you are a huge advocate for QT imaging.
Yeah.
So which addresses not only the biopsy and how we actually screen and look at doubling time, but we're able to really rectify this whole breast cancer cycle, an
Yeah.
epidemic, as you called it.
Yes. Yeah.
So what stood out about QT imaging and why did you feel more confident than ever that this is something that could help breast cancer?
Yeah. Number one, there's no radiation. There's also concerns, and I know this is downplayed tremendously, but there is research and people out there that I have found that are being censored even, that the radiation harms are cumulative. So the way they present it, oh, it's the same as background radiation on an airplane. But in my case, because I had the damage from the biopsies and surgeries to my breast, and then I went for a consultation to another doctor. I had like 7 consultations. I'm not into just second opinions. I want to have lots of opinions when someone's telling me these extreme things. At every place you go, they want to do their own imaging, meaning mammograms, and they wanted to do a mammogram after I had just had surgery a couple weeks later, and I thought, there's no chance in hell. And it took a long time for my breast to heal. So the radiation, the compression, because I was so young, I was only 44, I was like, by the time I'm 50, if they want me to do it every 6 months, that's 20 mammograms. That cannot be good for me. So that alone made me clear I'm not doing mammograms, and I had to find something else. And initially it was MRI. Then it was ultrasound, automated ultrasound, which wasn't widespread either. And then when QT came along, I'm like, oh my God, this was Susan Love's vision. And you put your breasts in a warm water bath, and it's 200 times better than MRI and all these amazing things. I listened to Dr. Clock explain the technology. I'm like, this is a no-brainer. Why is this not being fully accepted and funded and insurance coverage? I'm like, let's get this going. How can I help this move faster and forward quicker to have everyone have access to this?
A safer, better option, and you're trying to make every woman know about it. I love it.
That's it.